Welcome back, everybody, to the Barely Bushy podcast. It's been a while. This summer I've had my internship and work and summer classes, so it's been busy. But I'm happy that I've been able to sit down and find time to give you another episode. The first two did pretty well. I appreciate you guys for listening to it, and I hope that you're enjoying, hearing people's stories. And I've tried my best to line up these things, but again, my schedule's super busy. Other people have lives, their schedules don't always line up, but as consistent as I can give it to you, I'm going to do my best to give you episodes and give you just different stories. Like we said, if you haven't listened to the intro, the main focus of what I'm doing here is to give people of all walks of life doing various things just a platform to talk about it, because there's so many, jobs, careers, hobbies, and so on in this world that other people aren't aware about. And if they do know what it is, they barely know much about it. So this is to kind of give you an insight into people who are in that industry. Obviously, my first episode was with a YouTuber, and then we had a musician, and I'm trying to get other people from different walks of life. Don't want to say what they're doing because I don't want to give any guarantees out there. So the goal is really to give these people an intro and allow you to understand what it is that they do. And if you have interest in it, check it out, do whatever. But my guest today is someone who works in the esports world. I'm sure a lot of older people probably don't even know what that is, but essentially for the boomers out there, it's video games. Like that's what it is. That's what we're doing here. But it's really an industry that's growing, and a lot of people aren't aware of that. But it used to just be you sit down, you pick up a controller, and you do whatever. But now there's competitions. I mean, people can make millions in this, and you win competitions. It's televised. There's teams everywhere, and so it's a really growing industry. And if you don't know about it, then stay tuned because you're going to want to hear more about it. And the guest today is a friend of mine. Her name is Kady Campbell. She is the captain of the team at Indiana University East, I believe so. Yes, the captain of Indiana University East, their esports team. So, Kady, thanks for taking time out of your schedule to be here.
Yeah, thanks. I'm so excited to be here and talk about my little esports realm. So,
And no, I
yeah,
always appreciate people taking the time, but that was sort of a brief intro. But if you want to kind of give the
yeah.
audience more of an in-depth, first of all, like, who are you? Like, what do you do? College student, not college student, work, whatever. And then kind of give us a little, I guess, introduction to what it is that you do. Because obviously there's esports, and then you're the captain of
Mhm.
esports team. So kind of give
Yeah.
us a little, couple minutes about what it is that you do and who you are.
Okay, I don't often have a lot of time to talk about myself, so this is fun and interesting.
Got all the time you
I'm
need.
Kady Campbell. I'm Kady Campbell. As Bushy said, I'm the head or a captain. We have multiple captains for our esports team at IU East. If you're familiar with Indiana University, we are actually one of the first esports teams for IU at all. So if you are lover of basketball or anything like that, then you probably know IU. So we're the first esports team for all campuses, which is awesome to be like a trailblazer in the realm, and also being a woman, being able to be like, yeah, I'm a captain on this thing. So I do that. And then I also am on student government for IUE, small thing, but it helps to organize IUE, the esports as well. And then I am a criminal justice and psychology major, which is a random major compared to everybody else that's doing like esports management and marketing. And it's like, I'm just here. So I just exist and I do that full time and do esports also full time. And so that's basically my life. Other than that, I hang out and play video games, and that's basically it. So yeah.
Yeah, no, the interesting thing about that sort of world is that I think it's a very new concept, and
Mhm.
people aren't aware of it, especially the older generations. For instance, even when I tell my grandparents, yeah, like I'm doing podcasting stuff, they don't even know like
Yeah.
what this is. Like they ask, like, can you listen to the radio? Like, I mean, technically no, but
Yeah.
if you want, you could hook it up. But for you and your start, like let's go back to not the beginning, but like
Yeah.
how did you first get into gaming, and like around what age was it where you sort of, what wasn't the idea of let me sit down and just play one game when I'm 3 years old,
Right.
like, but like actually getting into gaming in a more serious note, like when was that
Yeah.
point for you?
So my story is actually a lot different compared to a lot of competitive esports people. They've been gaming for years and competitively doing things and getting signed in. Since we were a newer esports organization for IU, they needed people really badly. And I'm more of, yes, I competitively game and stuff like that. I'm not the best, but I do more of the marketing side. So I'm more of like a social media influencer, I would say, for us. So Twitch streaming, promoting our Twitch streams, playing, and I also go to a lot of the competitions to make sure to like we're getting Instagram posts and stuff like that. But I also do compete in a lot of competitions. But I started getting into all of that. Sorry, long backstory. I started getting into that really seriously about 2 years ago, so not that long ago compared to most people. Um, so yeah, about 2 years ago. And then I've been playing since I was what, 10 on like Mario Party 8, 7, 6, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So
Oh,
you
older
know,
stuff.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that sort of, to jump off that, was gaming something that from your childhood to now was something that you did a lot of, or was it more of just a casual thing and then you reached, the esports world in college and
Mhm.
realized this is more serious? Because I know a lot of people, they'll casually game or they'll play with their
Yeah.
friends, but doing the esports thing, especially at a captain level, is a whole nother like story of just, you're not just
Yeah.
gaming, like there's a lot to it. So was video games something that was kind of part of your life for a while, or was just, something that you did because a lot of people did it?
It was really something that I love to do. Like if I mean, as like a girl, it's like I don't play a lot of COD when I'm younger, but as I grew up, I started loving COD, getting into Apex, getting into Overwatch, all these different kinds of games. So I really was surrounded by a lot of friends too that played. So just having friends and then casually playing. And then, like you said, I got into college and I was like, I'm looking for a new group of people to connect with and something I have in common with. And since we were just starting up a new organization, it was like, this is a perfect opportunity. And I was asked to play. So it was like, this is so cool. And it pushed me to find a new competitive level to esports. And having my coaches coach me and my teammates really guiding me of how to progress and learning strategic plays for certain games, like it's really opened up a whole new world of opportunities for me. So it's been really interesting that it's happened so quickly, from something I found so casual. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's definitely what you described it as. So yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah. And bouncing off of that, because I personally, I don't game a whole lot. Sports are more my
Right.
thing. I'll play
Yeah.
with my friends. My brother does a lot of game, but nothing to this level. And I have a buddy of mine who's probably gonna be mad that I didn't do this with him, but he's a
Yeah.
coach for an esports team at, I believe it's like York College in
Oh,
PA.
wow.
I don't know what that entails. Obviously, as a sports guy, coaching to me is you draw up plays and set picks
Yeah.
in basketball, or you draw up a run play, a pass play, whatever you're gonna do.
Hmm.
Like sports is drawing up plays. If you could explain, not just for the audience, but for me personally, because I don't really understand
Hmm.
it, like what
Yeah.
is coaching in esports entail, and how is that
Hmm.
different than a friend who's there and is like, oh, you want to use this
Yeah.
gun or you want to throw this? Like, what is the difference
Hmm.
between a friend who's there and just like a coach for esports? Because clearly it's a thing. Because there are guys who get paid to
Yeah.
do this full time, so I know it's a thing.
Hmm. So our coach personally, he has a lot of experience in Overwatch. I don't know if you're familiar with that game. But it's like a first person shooter, almost like COD, but less graphics, so it's able to be played in college communities. And so with those games, there's maps. So if you can imagine like a soccer field, and so you have certain people placed in certain areas, and you push up when the ball's over on the left side, whatever. So you have to, the coach, their position is to be able to watch the game because they're not actually able to give plays during the game. It's actually against code to be able to coach them while they're gaming. So it's
So,
an
so they have to be
after
silent.
process.
Like they can
Yes.
they only have the ability in game to watch.
Yes. So it's at least for the collegiate games that I'm playing in. And so they're silent during the game, but they go back afterwards. And so most of the players will stay around and they give feedback what to work on. And a lot of the coaching actually happens in practices. So basically their position is to watch how you play and your play styles and to fit you with certain characters in the game, certain guns. It depends on what game that you're playing, and just direct you of how pros would play. So you watch a lot of Twitch streams, you watch a lot of pro players and competitions and trying to mimic their play styles. And so they help transfer those skills over to you. And if you need help with developing skills, they'll give you tips, this and that. And a lot of the players um, actually step up in a coaching position as well, just not paid. um, but they are more experienced on a way higher level than other players. And so for our Overwatch team, one of the guys, he goes by Carp, he actually organizes, oh gosh, I'm spacing on the word of what you use. Anyways, he helps designate what characters should be played on each map, which is actually a very hard skill because I can't even develop that right now. But for certain maps, how they're designed, you need different characters and different pushing, like how you push in the game, how you defend, where you defend, and defense points, whatever, however they want to describe it. But he does that for Overwatch. So it's an in-depth position, I would say, but it's very interesting and it helps a lot with the players, especially me being new. So
Yeah, so
that's a lot. Sorry.
no, you're fine. Talk literally the more that you talk, the less the audience has to listen to me. So it's better. So it does it sounds like to me like comparatively the sports, it's sort of like here's our strategy, like you need to choose this. For instance, if you're gonna put out a
Mhm.
lineup in basketball, you may occasionally rotate somebody to fit
Yeah.
the competition. Now, my question is when you're like sports, you have one-on-ones team wise. When you're playing,
Yeah.
is there multiple teams? And if so, is like game planning part of depending on the team,
Hmm.
or is it just like this map works best with this gun or player, or is it
Hmm.
you sit down and I don't know if you play other colleges or how that works,
Right.
but if you're playing them, does like you game plan for the people that you're playing
Hmm.
against as well?
Actually, there is a lot of scouting involved. This past season, we weren't as in depth as we're going to be next season, upcoming in August, but we did do a couple scouting for our Rocket League teams. Rocket League, it's just one team against another, and then Overwatch is the same way. But Apex, you have like a Fortnite, so like there's bunches of squads that compete against each other all in one map. So for Apex specifically, there would be a lot of scouting involved with that. And Apex is starting up in August as well for the first time for IU. And so there would be scouting for other colleges across the nation because we do play at a nationwide collegiate level. And so we would see how their play styles are, what usually the people are maining as a character. And usually there's drop points on a map. So you decide where you're going to drop, where you rotate. So in different points of the map, what would be the strategic place to get high ground to win a battle between two teams and such. So there is a lot of planning that goes into the games. Sometimes you miss it, you miss the strategic plan and you die, but a lot of it also happens in game and it sucks that the coach can't coach during then, but that just comes with having a strong team bond between people. So that's what happens on off season and during season is just making sure you know who your teammates are and how they play.
It's gonna be, at least from an outward perspective, it's gonna be pretty
Mm-hmm.
hilarious because I know these games that you're listening, but anyone who's
Yeah.
probably any older than 30 is gonna
You're like, oh
hear
my gosh.
words like Overwatch, Rocket League, Apex, and have
Yeah.
no clue. But then
Yeah.
again,
Maybe COD, but
maybe they'll listen to it and do some research and get more caught up
yeah.
for it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
people people out there probably, I would assume, don't watch esports as much as probably any other sport. That's not a slash
Mm-hmm.
on it. It's just it's a new
Yeah.
concept, and a lot of people struggle with embracing new concept, whether they don't like
Yeah.
change or they just don't know how to do it. And so,
Exactly.
what do these competitions entail? What do they look like? I
Mm-hmm.
know what they look like, but for the audience, people who are listening who might
Yeah.
not, like obviously you have a basketball court, and then you have a football field, a soccer field, you have the rink for
Mm-hmm.
hockey. What does a competition in it as a whole look like from when you enter the arena to whatever that arena
Mm-hmm.
is, if there's a proper name for it, and then what is the
Right.
setup sort of look like for those who may want to watch or stream it or somehow just
Mhm.
do more research into an esports competition?
Yeah. So the competitions are strictly inside due to, electronics and such. But they are typically held in huge convention centers because these competitions, especially Rocket League competitions, there's a convention or the Rocket League championship called RLCS. And so it's the Rocket League Championship Series, and it's one of the biggest competitive esports events I've really ever seen. So they fill up a huge convention center, almost like a sellout of Justin Bieber for a concert. And then they have the people usually in the middle with big Megatron screens so you can watch the plays. And there's also esports commentators, which is the coolest thing ever because you can hear them commentating just like regular sports. So they give you play by plays, which people are winning, what they're doing, and just updates. Even so, if you don't understand the game, they really make it easy to comprehend,
Okay. That's always
which
nice
is
to have.
great. Yeah. And so I actually went to a NBA 2K championship in-person competition, I would say last month. They're on my Instagram, but pictures of it if you wanted to see any pictures. But it was so cool. They had lights, they had even almost like a runway where people would walk out. They had smoke for them, like they all had jerseys. It was like a legit thing. And honestly, going into it, I was like, oh, this is going to be so small. Like, it's going to be like, this dorky thing. But it was one of the coolest experiences I've had. And I really just went because I was like, I want to see what it is. So, and usually a lot of them are cheap. So, if anybody's looking for anything to do, go to an esports event. They're literally cheap, fun, and you'll be able to figure it out as you go. So, yeah, they're really cool.
And there's so many people. I'm one of them, but I know so many people, especially
Mhm.
with 2K. Like that gets
Yeah.
heated. Like I don't know
Yes.
if everyone has seen videos, but at competitions involving 2K, even between friends,
Hmm.
like borderline fist fly, it can get
Yeah.
wild. I don't know what the rules are against that at competition and stuff. I'm pretty sure that
Hmm.
that stuff wouldn't be legal because you're playing video
Yeah.
games. You can't hit people. But like,
There was
I
some screaming, but
yeah, I mean that's just the spirit of competition. It's a good thing because
exactly.
it means that they care. Like if you're
Yeah.
losing and you don't yell or get upset,
You
you
just
don't
go,
care.
all right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'd be curious for you, just for your own perspective, what are you aware of, or how do you think esports is perceived on like a college campus? Because obviously for the longest time I think that these can kind of be somewhat lumped together, but liking anime and playing video games was always linked
Yeah.
with like, nerdy
Yeah.
guys. Like you're
Nerdy.
wearing like the
Hmm.
broken glasses, like you're super
Yeah.
thin and you got the pencils and like all this stuff. But now it's like, I mean, I'm right. I'm not wrong. But
You
but
are
like
definitely right.
but like it's blossomed now into this thing where like
Yeah.
you can make a lot of money, you can get a lot of followers.
Hmm.
So what is from your vantage point, how is like esports perceived on college campus by your friends, by your
Yeah.
family? Are they still looking at it as this is just a nerdy girl who likes video games who grew up with them, or is it a
Right.
different? Is the view changed to no, like this is something that can be legit, and if
Hmm.
taken serious enough, or if you work hard enough, you could
Yeah.
make a career out of it.
Exactly. So I would say honestly, at a lot of college campuses, if you're not um knowing about the area, you will be viewed almost like the marching band kid that's a little weird and nerdy still. But the people that know somewhat what it is and how much streamers are making, how much these competitive players are making, it's like, wow, this is like a legit sport. Like we're just I think what last year we're now classified under the actual athletics now. So I have to do a physical for this thing. Like I'm not
Oh,
running or
you gotta
anything like
you
that.
seriously you gotta go to
Yeah.
the doctor and get a physical to
Yeah.
do esports.
Yeah, I have to do a physical and a concussion test. So, yeah, since we're athletics, which is very weird, but we're definitely still the more nerdy people. I mean, it's honestly like the demographic. It's more, um, I mean, people that play a lot of video games that religiously play and are super good tend to be more socially not wanting to be around people. And so we honestly love all of each other because we get to be or what is it called? Introverted all together.
Yeah,
Obviously
yeah.
there's people that don't fit the stereotype and stuff like that, but we're honestly they're the best people ever, the kindest people. um But yeah, I would say that we're still viewed as big nerds, but hey, we'll get somewhere someday. So
And perceptions can change, and once people learn more and
exactly.
more about stuff, then your view
Hmm.
can change. It cannot change. You can learn about it and be like, nah, still nerds. They're playing video games for a life.
Exactly.
But
We're all nerds. It's fine.
it is what it is. We're in an ever growing digital tech age, so people are going to
Yeah.
have to embrace it one way or another. I mean,
Yeah.
you even look at what we're doing. I'm recording. I'm using my phone to look at different talking points. I'm using a
No, yeah.
microphone through a laptop. Like this is just it's a digital age. It's just what it
Yeah.
is.
I mean, there's a metaverse now where you can get sucked into the metaverse and pretend to be a whole different person, like, right? The whole virtual
Yeah,
reality thing. Yeah, it's
it's
crazy.
I don't know that I'm not a fan of that at all.
No, terrifying.
I
It's
hope
like
that never
real life
becomes
Matrix.
I hope that never becomes an esports thing at
Oh
all,
my
but
God. No.
you never do. But
But yeah.
this is another thing that when I'm watching, it's always in the back of my mind. I don't maybe not justice, but like carpal tunnel
Hmm.
syndrome. Like people say, you're
Hmm.
not supposed to look at computers or screens for a super long time and use your hands.
Yeah.
Is it something that you have to game plan for? You have to practice? Like, are you
Hmm.
taking breaks? How long are competitions? Because if you're gaming for I don't know
Hmm.
3 or 4 straight hours, obviously when you're in your room, it's different. You're just kind of laying there, like
Maybe like 8. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you get up and go to the bathroom, you go up and get snacks,
Hmm.
like you do these different things. But if you're locked in a competition, this could be
Yeah.
hours straight. Is there ways to prevent it? Is it inevitable? Do they tell you, hey, even though you're in the middle of a competition, try to go like kneel behind a box in the game and quickly look away from the screen, stretch your hands? Like I don't
Right.
know too much about it, but I know that like
Right.
carpal tunnel syndrome is a real thing that could come about, or cramps or whatever. Like how do you
Right.
plan for that part of it?
So me personally, for practicing and just playing for fun, honestly, I tend to play around 5 hours a day, but it's breaks. So like I'll get up in the morning, play a couple games, and then eat lunch, do stuff. I have a lot of free time since it's summer right now. During the school year, I'd say around 3 to 4 hours, but if I wanted to be a pro, it'd be more like 10, like a regular work day. But during competitions, tournaments suck. So a regular competition is a little bit different for like Rocket League. There's only 3 games. So that takes like what, maybe an hour. But these tournaments for like Apex and like Fortnite, I played in a Fortnite Nationals, and it was one of the worst things ever because it took almost, I would say, 3 to 4 hours, and there was only a 10-minute break. So it was like, okay, I had to go pee. Now what do I do? I can't eat. So I just couldn't eat. So you have to plan accordingly, like, okay, I'm going to eat before and then after, and then just be
Yeah.
exhausted. But eye strain for me is a real thing. Blue light blockers for my glasses tend to help. So I usually wear those. But I get migraines from staring at a screen too long because then I do, school on my computer and then I'm on TikTok. It's like
Literally everything is
never
screen these
ending.
days.
So,
Everything.
yeah. So I'm like never outside. I don't touch grass. So, yeah.
Well, hey,
But
sometimes that's the the price that you pay to do these things.
exactly.
It takes a while. Like a lot of YouTubers, obviously, if you haven't listened to my previous episodes, for those who are listening to this one,
Hmm.
I highly encourage you going checking out the one with my friend Keenan, who goes by Professor
So
Online.
good.
If you listen to it, it is a heavy investment. He did it for 10, 12 years
Yeah.
before like he went big. Like there's a lot to it, but once you get over the hump and you can see the green in that there's a
Yeah.
huge advantage to doing that. But it takes time, just like everything. For instance, this show might not be popular for 5 years, but you just keep meeting people, you keep
Exactly.
talking to people, and you do what you can. But I want to shift gears a little bit to a topic that I'm sure is like super important to you, and that's the idea of
Hmm.
being a woman in this. Again, I don't want to like
Yeah.
I don't
No,
want to be
no, it's totally
come
fine.
off as that guy, but I would imagine that there
It's
is
interesting.
the demographics for it
Hmm.
heavily favor males, and that's not me trying to
Hmm.
be a sexist. That's just a natural
No, that's
assumption. Like
really how it is.
yeah, when you
Yeah.
know guys. So, do you see any of that, like you being female, does that factor in at all? Or like when you're at the competitions, do you look around and you're like, man, I am one of like
Hmm.
8 people in a crowd of 200? Like, how does that change
Yeah.
your perspective or people's perception of you in any way? Or is it
Hmm.
just here's Kady Campbell, she plays video games and we don't really care
Right.
at all?
So on my esports team, I don't feel any different just because of the community atmosphere. But through my years of playing, I don't mean to sound like, oh, I'm a woman being like, oh, everybody in gaming is bad, blah, blah, blah. Like, but there's really like a horrible stigma around women playing games. And it's like when I play games, I can't even unmute my mic until if I'm at top of the leaderboard or if I do something really great and then I unmute my mic because if I say anything, they'll just, shoot you down, curse you out. And it's like, it just doesn't make it fun. So, but luckily my name Kady, for some reason, they always think I'm Caden. So they think I'm like a guy when I'm gaming. So, but yeah, like in competitions, I wouldn't say in the competitive realm, there's a lot of men that treat me differently. But it's more in the casual realm when I'm just playing by myself, but my teammates never do make me feel uncomfortable or anything like that. But sometimes I do feel like, okay, this is really uncomfortable. Like the NBA 2K competition I went to, it was me and my mom were the only women. Like, even I think there was one woman that was commentating and there was no other person. Like, so it's not like I can turn to
Yeah.
somebody and be like, oh, hey, like, because if you know some, like, if you have something in common, like, you can like turn to them and be like, hey, oh my gosh, isn't this weird? We're the only
Yeah.
people here that are girls. Like, it's something to talk about. And then you can not be the only people and like get stared at. Cause it was like, it could have just been me overthinking, but it was definitely like the vibe of like, why are you here? Like, are you coming here to like hit on men? Like, what are you doing?
I hope
Like,
that wasn't people's
yeah,
perspectives, but no,
yeah,
the fun part about that, and I say fun part, but like the flip side of that could be
yeah,
that's also how you could earn respect. I'm sure that there were
yeah,
some guys who were
definitely.
there, whether in the crowd, commentating, producing, playing,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Like, wow, like whether or not she knows anything, I don't know if you know anything about the NBA at all. Like that,
A little,
yeah,
a wee
but
bit.
like they see you in the crowd, and they're like, man, whether it's she's trying to learn more about basketball,
She's
gaming, NBA,
supporting.
esports, like you're there and you stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, in a crowd, you'll stand out for an NBA if you're literally the only female outside of your
Mm-hmm.
mom there. That'll be a
Yeah,
standout. But it's funny because I feel like so many. This is the case in a lot of fields. Is the professionals and those who are actually doing the thing and are in it
yeah,
and are care and are have higher standards don't make the comments, they don't care. But it's like
yeah,
the people who don't do much with their lives or they just
yeah.
game, like those are the guys, those are the
Haters.
guys who are, yeah, the haters. They're the ones making
Yeah,
the comments and making the points. Because at the end of the day, like I don't would assume that they didn't like give you the captain position
yeah.
because you're female. It's like you
No, yeah.
they knew what you can do. They knew that you would be willing to
Mm-hmm.
work for it and you're there. But yeah, that's always been kind of funny to me is that people who care and people who are professional and are working for it,
Yeah.
they really don't care, especially in the gaming
Mm-mm.
world. It's just the guy who's sitting in his basement at 30 years old
Yes.
doing nothing but
Yeah.
gaming that gets mad because you're female all the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
And it's so weird because I always feel like, oh, I'm getting treated nicely because I'm a woman, but really like all the guys that I play with, they're just like, oh, sometimes I forget. Like, it's not like a big deal with people that actually know me. And so it's like you said, it's really just the men that sit and do nothing with their lives and don't like women. So
yeah,
it's not like,
they say that they forget not in an insulting way, just like
no,
we
it's in
don't
a more
care.
comforting way.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
like you're an equal to me. And so it's nice to feel that way, but it's also nice to be somebody that's different because I feel like when you have representation, my mouth, of people that aren't commonly in a demographic, it makes it more open. And so maybe the original demographic of gaming doesn't want it to be open to a lot of women and different people, but like having that representation of somebody that you can look up to, like as a girl. Like I have many girls, like they'll comment on stuff on my TikTok and be like, oh my God, like you game too, oh my gosh, we should play together. And so it's nice to see like it's becoming more comfortable just because they see other girls gaming and it's not like taboo or we shouldn't talk about it or this is weird, I'll get made fun of. So that's also really nice to have like my own little community and like be a role model, not in like a narcissistic way, but like in a kind way, I
Yeah.
guess. But yeah,
Yeah, because
so
there's plenty of people who want to do plenty of things, but they're scared to be the
mhm.
first. So when they do see that happen, like they're like,
Yeah.
oh, Katie is actually doing this. Like I love video
Hmm.
games, but I don't want people to like perceive me as weird, or I
Exactly.
didn't want to be the only girl. Well, you're there. You can help
Yeah.
them. You can help them join, help them game, like do whatever. Like I'm sure that I don't want to say weighs heavy on you, but like you
Yeah.
probably have that on your shoulder somewhat of there may be people here who look up to me in a certain way, but that's the same for
Yeah.
everything. People who want to play different sports and are scared to try out, people who want to do anything in the arts, maybe someone wants to try singing in a choir but they're not sure.
Yeah.
Like just anything like that is like if you have somebody out there, a friend, or you know someone who's similar to you
Hmm.
in any way, then it makes you more comfortable. So that's a cool part to see. And I would assume that the female gaming and esports is the
Hmm.
industry and that group is just going to continue to grow because
Yeah.
the people just we don't, at least from my perspective, if I turn on the TV and I see a girl gaming, like I don't care. She's definitely better at video games than I am.
Yeah.
I am terrible. I'm terrible. But like
Well, oh my gosh.
if I play any first person shooter, I just run around and they have no strategy. But that's
Hey,
that's
it's sometimes fun to do that.
yeah, exactly. So kind of shifting gears to another
Hmm.
point, your team, is there a team name? The only thing that I know about teams really is the popular gaming group like FaZe. I think that's like a
Oh yeah,
gaming
FaZe
team,
Clan. Yeah.
stuff like that. Is your team at Indiana, is it kind of like that? Like do you guys have
Hmm.
jerseys or t-shirts or whatever and you go against different groups, or is it like Indiana University esports will go against Michigan esports? Like is that sort of the collegiate level?
Yeah, it's definitely more the collegiate level one. So it's basically like Missouri against IU. But we do like go by Red Wolves. So we are the Red Wolves, this and that, but we don't have a fun little like clan name or anything like that, which would be so fun. Come up with some cool names for IU East. But yeah, we basically just go by boring IU East. But we are getting new jerseys. I get to design the jerseys. So I'm excited about that. So woo, excited.
There you go. Do you guys get some funding from the score? Or is it all like you have to do stuff for
Oh yeah.
yourself?
So basically, the first season that I joined, like halfway through, I think, I'm not quite sure. I think they had a season before, but they didn't have a lot of funding. And then we got recognized as athletics. So athletics programs always get buttloads of funding from colleges. I
True.
mean, like football, basketball, everything. So we have our chairs, and not to be like, ooh, bragging. It's just cool. I've never seen anything like this. Like, if you guys know what Alienware is, like, it's one of the most prestigious gaming things that's expensive. They have like 15 computers, all Alienware, all mice, keyboards. It's so cool, all like RGB lights. And then we have little chairs, like the gaming chairs. I'm sitting in one, but they have like their own embroidered Red Wolf logo on the back. It's so cool. So yeah, they get pretty decent funding, which is impressive. So
Now
I never would have thought.
that's awesome because I'm not that I'm aware of. I mean, I haven't dove deep into. I don't think my school has
Yeah,
esports. I don't know a ton that do. I don't know how popular it is
sometimes.
East Coast wise. Yeah, I'm not totally sure.
Yeah.
But outside of that, for you, just gaming in general, do
Mhm.
you, for those who are listening, do you stream? Do you do YouTube videos? Like, what do you do personally,
Mhm.
or are you strictly focused on I want to game for this esports team, but outside of it, I'll
Right.
just kind of play? Or is this something that
Mhm.
you're super passionate about, so you stream, so you'll post videos and
Right.
etc. stuff like that?
So I've always been passionate about YouTube and everything like that, but I'm too lazy to edit videos, if I'm to be frankly honest. It's
Amen.
so
Heard that.
hard to do that. So Twitch honestly is like the perfect mixture, and you get to have live feedback. So I've been getting into that the last I'd say a month or two. But I have a bad camera and it doesn't lag up with my face, so that drives me nuts. So I'm waiting till I get my PC in next week. But yeah, Twitch is gonna be like my main thing because I pride myself on not being a pro streamer, but I'm an interesting one and likes to keep conversation. So
Yeah,
I love to do that. So
you,
that's
you
like a
can do,
perfect mix.
you can do a quick plug, quick self pro. What's the channel name if people want to go check
So
it out?
it's yeah, if you guys want to check me out on Twitch, it's Kady, Kady, and then Soup, because my last name's Campbell. So haha, Campbell Soup. Kady Soup. So if you guys want to go watch me and watch me fail at every single game, go check me out.
And I I'm super interested in sort of. obviously, I what year are you in college?
I'm going to be a junior. I took a gap year, so I
Okay.
should be a senior, but I'm a junior. So,
Yeah. So you got a couple
yeah.
years. So you got a couple years, obviously, to make decisions and plans. But
Yes.
being that your major, I mean, let's be honest, is like barely,
Completely
if
different.
not related at all to
Yeah.
esports, is esports something that you are passionate about and that you love and you
Hmm.
love being part of it at school, but afterwards
Yeah.
it's kind of done and you want to pursue your major? Or is this something that you could see, hey,
Hmm.
I'm going to graduate, get my degree, but esports is truly what I want to do? And you may
Hmm.
work a second, full-time job while you build up,
Right.
like most people do, like I'm going to be doing when you do podcasts, when you do YouTube,
Exactly.
anything, you're working a full-time job and then this is your
Yeah.
side hustle. You're not getting a lot of sleep in the early years, but
Right.
then you work for it and then you get to that point. So
Hmm.
is esports something that you could see coming a career path and a choice and that you want to pursue? Or is it,
Hmm.
I graduate college, I get my degree, I want to be serious about what I majored in and I'll game
Right.
and stream, but esports is in the back burner and I'm sort of done with competitions and helping out with stuff like that?
Right. So I view myself as a jack of all trades. So basically, I'm wanting to be a forensic psychologist. So if you've watched the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, the lady that testified who had what disorders and this and that on the court case, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
That's what my major is. So I'm gonna have to get my doctorate for that. So it's a lot of school.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, esports is gonna be Twitch. So after college, I'm really banking on that'll be super like the fun outlet after doing doctoral things and cranking out on
No doubt.
schoolwork, just being able to get on Twitch and talk to people and relieve stress, and that would be fun. But yeah, do that, multiple different things. I have a lot of energy, not a lot of motivation, but I'm getting there.
An
So
unfortunate combo.
yeah.
Yeah.
A
Okay.
lot of passion,
So
but
like so what you're in school to do, like that is your
Mhm.
career focus. You're not in
Yes.
it with a major, but esports is your focus. Not that that's a bad thing. Like
Yeah.
obviously what
No,
you want to
yeah.
do is what you want to do, which
Hmm.
is cool. And I mean, you never know. You could get to that and then somehow, some way your
Something could happen.
your stream could blow up. I know,
Yeah.
like for instance, Keenan, his channel, he said that like one day he kind of woke up and it just like skyrocketed within a month. Like,
Happen.
yeah, an overnight stuff. You never know. You post a video that you think is funny, and then you go to
Hmm.
bed. It's like, "Ah, I only got so many views, and you wake up, it's like,
Right.
wow, like this is
Yeah.
insane. So you never
I've
you
had
never
that happen
know.
on TikTok. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't posted on TikTok in over 2 years now, but
Forever.
like when you go on my thing, it's like I have like a quarter of a million likes because I had like one video
Yeah.
get a lot of likes. It's
Exactly.
it's weird. This whole industry is mind-boggling to even,
Algorithms are weird.
yeah, even to me, but especially to, like I said, anybody over 30 who's not in the field is going to be
Hmm.
mad confused.
Highly confused.
But is there, because I don't know how it works. You probably know way better
Hmm.
than I do. Is there like money in this industry? For instance, do the players, do the coaches, and so on? Is
Hmm.
there a lot of money in careers to be made? I know that if
Hmm.
one, like the one kid who lived like 20 minutes from me, I forget his name, but
Yeah.
I think it starts with a B. It's like Bola or something like that. He won some Fortnite competition and he's like
Oh,
17 years old and won like $10 million.
wow.
Kid lives like
No,
20 minutes.
yeah.
Kid lives like 20 minutes from me. So I know that like individual wins and stuff like that, there's a lot of money, but
Hmm.
team wise, coaching wise, whatever there is it an
Hmm.
industry that if you in the next 2 years got pulled into, could there be a career path to make
Yeah.
enough, or is it always going to be sort of something that you do on the side because you can't make a full living from it unless you're like the top 1%, which is very, very obviously hard to do. People who are in that top
Right.
1%, like you said, probably grew up, started gaming at like 2, and all throughout
Yeah.
middle school and high school played 12, 13 hours a day.
It's like football. You only make it pro if you've been doing it since you're like, what, 8? So, yeah,
Even
but
before that, but yeah, I get what you're saying. I
yeah.
get what you're saying.
Yeah, but I would say so like for me personally, um I don't know. I don't think I could make it there, but Twitch might be a thing for money, but for other people, The money industry in esports is insane. I mean, if you're picking up a coach position for a semi-pro team, they will pay you well. Like, I mean, I know people that are making good enough money to live in a nice apartment in an expensive area just doing coaching or being, a pro level player that's just starting out in the pros. But the competition that I was going to for the NBA 2K, I keep mentioning it because it's the only one I've been to so far, but it was like a 25K pot. So what you win at the end, it was 25K, and that's split between what, 6 people? So that's pretty good money for only one competition, and they have multiple throughout the season. So I would say it's almost like the music industry, just like how many things you get invited to because of how good you are. So it's like constantly competing for those spots to get into the championships and to get into finals. But just basis, I'm pretty sure they get paid for being there as a pro, just like a salary. I'm pretty sure as a pro, like you get signed on almost like football. So
Yeah.
you get signed on and then you're paid. So it's really good pay though. But pros would be, where you get your money. Twitch would be where like semi pros and stuff like that would be getting their money from, I would assume, at least. So, yeah.
Yeah. And the flip side of that from pros is new people. How can people
Mm-hmm.
who either are into gaming or just got into gaming or aren't really sure, obviously year one college, but I assume the process is
Yeah.
somewhat similar around the country and people who want to do it. How can someone who is either unsure about it or not sure how to get
Mm-hmm.
into it, how can they get plugged? Like I'm assuming that you don't have to walk in and say that you're a pro. I would hope that
Right.
there's different, like, are there different levels to it when there's a team, or is just
Mm-hmm.
everyone's one point, or is it, hey, we're gonna rank the teams and these guys go to certain competitions like a varsity JV? How does that work? If you want to get into it, how can you get into it? And then once you're there, how
Mm-hmm.
does the team break down? I would assume
Divide.
also
Okay.
the number of people on the team would depend. If you walk in
Mm-hmm.
and it's new to your college and you have 5 people, they're not going to like send
Yeah.
one guy away. But if you have 15 to 20,
Yeah.
that's different. But if you're new and you want to get into it, how can somebody get plugged in? And then once they're
Mm-hmm.
there, sort of what is the process of breaking down their level of skill, I guess would be the way to put it.
Right. So I'm based out of the Midwest. So if you are in the Midwest, I know that there's every college at the jump for new people trying to get into esports. So new people, if you're looking at the club website on your colleges or high school, look at your gaming clubs because you guys will find contacts, connections, and just it's insane the people that you meet because sometimes you need to meet those people to get into these things. Like me, I just randomly went across, oh, the gaming club. And then I met the head coach and he was like, hey, we really want you to play. We see that you're interested in this. We saw your levels. We looked up your stats. Do you want to play? And so they might approach you, but more often than not, you'll need to approach them. So just researching it, honestly. And a lot of it is through Discord. So looking up gaming communities in Discord is where everything happens. So I know of one specifically, Dude Gaming is a tournament based community. So if you want to make some quick cash tournaments and you're good at Apex or League of Legends, amazing place to get connected in and start tournaments. Tournaments is where you would start and then meet people because almost all of them are in esports and actual competitive realms that you can be like, hey, so what are you doing? This and that. How are you getting into this? And they'll be able to connect you with higher ups. I just got lucky, honestly. But if you're in college, just contact the university for their clubs and such. And they will probably look you up on a lot of trackers, look at your stats, and probably do a tryout. So, yeah. And then you asked about divisions, right? And stuff, how that works.
Yeah, more so like, if someone thinks that they're really good and they want to join a
Yeah.
team, or if it's someone like me where it'd be, I don't game a lot, but I think it'd be fun. Am I playing
Yeah.
with and or like if am I playing with the same guy who joins really good and he'd be super
Yeah.
frustrated because I'm terrible? Or is it
Mm-hmm.
you're new and so you're there sort of like the NBA has like the NBA and then there's the G League, or like the more, I
Yeah.
guess the better comparison would be the MLB, and then there's AAA, double A, single A. Is it broken
Yeah.
up, or is someone who's really good is going to have to deal with a guy like me who's not good and he's just going to be frustrated?
Yeah. So it depends how many people, like you said, are on the team. So if you have lots of people, you can probably make, well, not probably, you can make multiple teams to be entered into different divisions. But for this last season, we didn't have a lot of people. And so for our Rocket League team, there's three people on a team, and we only had three. So we were playing against so the ranking is like, it goes from like bronze all the way up to, we'll say GC is the highest. And so we were playing against GCs. And so it was like, pro people that you see on Twitch where they're legit pros. And so the season before, when I wasn't even playing, they were playing the highest of highest people where they actually met people that they were like fangirling over. And so it was like, so I got stuck playing with people that I was trash and playing with these insane people. But it really depends how many people are on the team. And then, yes, it is divided like D1, D2. So we're probably going to be playing on a D2 level. So one below it. So like the JV team, because we have a lot of new people coming in that are just starting out. And we're going to be training them and such. So yeah.
Well, before I close the episode, just one last it's super generic question.
Yeah.
Is there anything out there about esports that maybe we missed or only briefly covered that you would want just people in general to know that might not know a lot about it? Anything that reel them in? Like what is there about it that you can put out there that might reel people in who don't know or people who are unsure
Mm-hmm.
and maybe consider checking out? Like what is there to esports that we didn't hit already, or like I said, maybe only touched on a little bit that you feel like you would
Mm-hmm.
like to put out there? Because it is, like we've mentioned multiple times, a fairly new concept to a
Yeah.
lot of people.
So oh gosh, that's a loaded question. I would say honestly, the esports competitions, like you like they're gonna blow up. It'll be one of the biggest like sports things. So it's said to be predicted that there's gonna be I don't know, it was like 500,000 people going to these events or something. It was insane, like not a 500,000, I'm over projecting, but really a lot of people. So looking into these things and learning more about it, just being able to experience it when everything's going to be starting. It'll be like the first starting of baseball. Like you'll be able to be there and experience it, which honestly these things are super cool, and you can meet some people that you can go, hey, I remember back when back in 2020 when this person's like millionaire like Bill Gates, I met him. Like I think that would be really cool for people to get more invested in it and just be able to enjoy it while it's now and happening instead of missing it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sort of like the beginning of Bitcoin or podcasting. It's something that you think
Exactly.
that you see and that you also hear. I mean, obviously you're in it, but so you
Yeah.
project it, but you're also hearing that it's gonna blow up. Like it's going to continue.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be a fad. This is only gonna grow as an industry.
Mhm. And especially sorry, last thing, but especially women in the industry. If any women are listening, I'm sure I'll promote it and you guys will listen. But if you guys are listening, make sure to get into the industries because it's dominated right now like 1 to 4. It's going to be about half. So honestly, if you're looking for something to get into to competitively maybe make money on Twitch, it's a big industry that you can make some money and have fun and make a great community, and everybody is so kind and so sweet. So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
there
saying
you
go
go.
for it.
There you go.
Yeah.
If you're an investor, if you want to, I don't know how that would work, but make money somehow, it's always smart to get in.
Invest in esports.
Yeah,
Yes. In the teams. Yeah.
even if you only want to put a little in just to test the water, see what it is. But
Yeah.
before we sign off, where can people find you and or your team on socials?
Hmm.
YouTube, Twitch, we already went over, but like Instagram, Twitter, where can we find
Yes.
you and your team for those who may want to either get in contact with you, who might have more questions, or maybe someone from your school is listening and wants to get in contact with the team or just wants to
Yeah.
sort of check it out. What's like, where can we find you and your esports team?
Okay, our esports team on Instagram, I run the Instagram, so it's going to be IU East Esports. So it's pretty straightforward with spelling. And then we also have a Twitch channel that we will be streaming our competitions on almost every week in August and through our season. That's IU East Esports as well, so that's pretty easy to remember. Me, Kady Campbell, I'm Kady with the extra Y, Campbell, Campbell on Instagram. And then if you want to look me up on Twitch, it's the same handle. And then my stream, I already mentioned that, is Kady Soup. And my gaming TikTok is Kady Soup as well. So a lot of shout outs, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, one quick thing because people are probably going to ask and I completely forgot.
Mm-hmm.
What do you game on? I know someone's gonna ask. This is like a
Oh
last
my
second question.
gosh.
I realized I'd never
No.
asked.
Oh, you're exposing me. This is the most embarrassing thing ever. As an esports player, I'm playing on the original first gen Xbox One, which is the worst system to ever play on Xbox for esports. I'm gonna be getting a PC. And whatever. If you guys want more information of what my PC build will be, send me a DM and I'll help you figure all that stuff out because I'm figuring it out. But yeah, so just got exposed with my Xbox. But
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. The only thing that I have is a 360 and a GameCube because I just don't game. But
No, yeah. I
but I
was gonna
guess
say
it's
for esports, it's pretty bad. Everyone makes fun of me. They're like, "You still play on an Xbox One?" It's like, "Yes, I know,
oh,
I know, I know."
we all
So
we all got to start somewhere. But
exactly.
no, I do. I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. I'm glad that we were able to go back and forth and connect and get the
Yeah.
conversations because we've been talking about it for a couple weeks. But like I mentioned in the beginning, my schedule is hectic and busy.
Hey,
I had a couple
mine too.
shows that I recorded today, and after I hop off this recording, I'm going to do another
Nice.
show. So
Oh
super
God.
busy stuff. But I'm glad that we were able to
Well,
connect. And people, if you're out there, you know nothing about esports, get connected, get in. The industry is growing. If you want to learn more about Kady or just esports in general, she dropped her social medias and go reach out to her. Ask her if you want to check out her team. There's that. But get into the industry. It is new. If you don't know about it, learn about it. It's only going to grow in this ever growing digital age. That's just where we are. Whether you want to, reject that or embrace it, I'd encourage you to embrace it because otherwise you're going to fall behind the times and you're not going to want to be that person. But I do want to thank Kady for giving me the time. It's been great recording. I'm super happy that we were able to do this and shed light on esports and what it is and how you can get plugged in and just the different varieties of it. It's like we said, great industry. People are going to learn about it and grow. I've enjoyed the time. And thank you guys for the audience for listening in and giving me the time to listen to the show. It's been an honor. It's been great. And I'm going to do my best to more consistently put out episodes. I have people who have said that they want to come on. It's a matter of finding the time because I am super busy. But I'm happy that this was able to get done. I am on vacation in the next week, so nothing there. But I'm hoping to in 2 Fridays. And just like every other Friday, the goal is to every other Friday put content out for you. That's the goal. I'm super busy. I'm going to do my best to do that. Thanks for joining me. Thank you to Kady for giving me her time.
thank
This
you.
has been Barely Bushy, and I hope that you enjoyed the episode. Look forward to giving you guys more content down the road. Thank you.